Talking of America, because that's where Kinsey is, of course, on the West Coast there in Los Angeles. We're going to go over to America now to discuss a woman who I think should quit immediately, but won't. She is called Kimberly Cheatle. She's the head of America's Secret Service. She was in charge of that operation that failed to protect Donald Trump. She was the person at the helm as Donald Trump was shot, and as the lapses in security are breathtaking. But yet she's a former head of security at Pepsi Cola, and she still thinks she's the one to run the Secret Service in America. She's obsessed with, you won't be surprised to hear, diversity, equality and inclusivity. That, of course, is what Donald Trump was saying as he was so nearly killed. Well, you didn't do a very good job, but at least you're really good on diversity. Unbelievable. Now, I'm really pleased to say that to discuss what I think is a real scandal, we're going to go across to America and talk to the fabulous Fox News commentator, Tomi Lahren. Hello, Tomi.
Oh, it's good to be with you, and I'm so happy that you're talking about the gross negligence from our Secret Service director. If she had any integrity whatsoever, she would have resigned on Saturday evening. But of course, we know that because in America, and unfortunately in much of the world, DEI reigns supreme. So I don't expect her to be forced to step down. I'd be shocked if she did it on her own. But again, a dereliction of duty doesn't even begin to describe what happened. It's an international embarrassment for the USA. And I got to tell you, I don't expect much more from the current administration, but this is even worse than we could have ever anticipated.
Well, check this out, Tomi. I'm sure you have checked this out, but it's quite breathtaking what she said. Why that roof from which Donald Trump was shot, where that guy incredibly managed to get up there in full view of too many people, but he got up there. Why were there no Secret Service agents on that roof? Kimberly Cheatle went on to American television and explained. She said, well, it's very slopey. It was a health and safety issue. What about the health and safety of Donald Trump? How can she say that and think that that is a viable excuse? And what is she still doing in that job?
Well, the fact that she is insulting our intelligence as viewers, as Americans, as human beings, by telling us that the problem was the roof was too slopey and she didn't want to endanger her Secret Service agents. The job of a Secret Service agent is to literally put their life on the line to protect current and former presidents. And I have a feeling that if any qualified Secret Service agents had been on the job and we didn't have whatever we had that day, that they would have had no problem climbing on that roof, because a 20-year-old was able to climb on that roof and take what looked like it could have been a direct shot at our president's head. So I've seen people climb more slanted roofs to hang Christmas lights, for goodness sakes. It's an insult to our intelligence that she thinks that any American, whether they're on the left or the right, is going to buy that load of crap.
Yeah, absolutely. Load of crap is exactly what it is, because apart from the fact it's an appalling excuse to give for people who are supposed to be protecting others, that roof isn't very slopey. It's pretty much flat, so it doesn't stack up. Now, here's the thing, and I know you've already looked into this, Tomi, but you won't be surprised to hear that Ms. Cheatle is the recommendation of Dr. Jill Biden. Dr. Jill Biden's presiding obsession is diversity, equality and inclusivity, and she was very impressed by Kimberly Cheatle's record on DEI, and while she's not protecting people like Donald Trump, in other words, while she's not doing her job properly, she's very proud of her ambitions to fill the Secret Service with 30% of women agents. OK, fine. But are you telling me that getting 30% of women into the Secret Service is more important than protecting people like Donald Trump properly? Because I don't think it is.
Here's the thing about the American left that I just can't quite seem to understand. They're all about women and women empowerment, yet that doesn't extend to men and women's sports. So apparently you want 30% of your Secret Service to be females because it makes women feel better about themselves. but you don't want women's sports to be reserved exclusively for women. So the math is not mathing here. It is not adding up. DEI is a joke. DEI is going to be the death of America. It's going to be the death of the world. It is the dumbest social experiment we have ever experienced. And the fact of the matter is this: if you have a woman who is 5'3" and she is guarding a president who is over 6 foot tall, obviously there are going to be limitations there. So the fact that he had that many women surrounding him that weren't even as tall as he is obviously, a huge problem and a colossal failure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was exactly going to be my next question. That frankly, these agents, it's got nothing against them being women, but because they're women, they weren't tall enough. And by the way, you're probably not allowed to say this in our brave new woke world, but a couple of them looked rather overweight. They didn't look to be in very good shape. So basically, you had a bunch of fat, short women protecting a guy who's 6'2", and the first job that secret agents do in these circumstances, have a look back even to JFK, have a look back at Ronald Reagan. They're big guys, they're 6'5", and the first thing they do is they cover the victim. So that apocryphal thing, or not apocryphal, fact that they will take a bullet for the person they're protecting. Now, these short, plump women didn't need to take a bullet, or they couldn't take a bullet because it wouldn't have mattered. If that guy was still shooting, these short people who came up to Donald Trump's neck would not have protected him. He'd have had a bullet straight through his head. So DEI got them those jobs. As you say, Tommy, DEI is the enemy of common sense. It is the enemy of doing a job properly. This is absolutely absurd, and I hope that Home Security and the American government have a proper look at this and say, look, DEI if you must, but not where it matters.
Not where it matters. There is no place for social experiments when it comes to Secret Service, when it comes to the military of any country. Do you think the armies of other countries, China, Iran, other nations that hate my country and hate your country, do you think that they put DEI initiatives in place for their fighting force? I wouldn't bet on it. They want to win. And meanwhile, in the United States, and even in some instances, I'm sure in the UK, they place the feelings over the actual capabilities and abilities. And if you look at the video, the extended video here, these, as you put it, these plump female Secret Service agents, one of them couldn't even holster her weapon. So to me, it's just an embarrassment of epic proportions. Donald Trump has the money and the resources. I believe from here on out, he should hire his own private security, get people in there that can actually do the job, and that should be the end of that discussion.
Well, I did notice, Tommy, down at the at Milwaukee at the Republican convention that Mr. Trump was being guarded by extremely tall, extremely muscular Secret Service agents. So I think something's already happened there, and we need to bring sanity back into that operation. Now, there will be an inquiry, quite rightly, into what exactly went wrong here. Ms. Cheatle is sticking to her guns, if I can put it that way, and saying, I will not resign. But surely, as this inquiry continues, if she won't resign, she'll have to be fired, won't she?
I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Because after the Afghanistan debacle, nobody lost their job. We've had millions of illegal immigrants invade our country on Biden and DHS Secretary Mayorkas's watch. Nobody in that position has been fired. So I don't expect this head of Secret Service to be fired either, because this current Biden administration does not take responsibility or accountability seriously. So I don't anticipate that anybody will be fired for this. And it's really a shame. That's why we need a new administration that puts results over feelings. And that's why I think the American people are going to reelect Donald Trump come November.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Tommy, and I'll tell you why. I've always quite liked Trump. I'm a journalist. He's always been a fantastic story. He's a great talker, great for quotes. He's also a very funny guy. I've had my reservations. However, I saw him at the weekend, and my admiration for the way he handled himself through that terrible trauma knows no bounds. He emerged from that as courageous, dignified and tremendously impressive. The way he handled himself and the way he punched the air defiantly, I think Americans will look at that and think that is our president. I don't think Joe Biden, who now looks like a pathetic, bumbling sideshow, stands a chance in hell of winning that election in November. Do you?
No, but I don't think he's going to be the nominee. I mean, just today you had Congressman Adam Schiff come out and call for the resignation or the drop in the race for Joe Biden. So I think you're going to see many more to come. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. The house of cards is folding quickly on Joe Biden, but I don't think it matters. I think Donald Trump is going to beat whoever they put up as their nominee. I think he should win in a landslide. I don't want to be too cocky about it, because I think we have a lot of work left to be done, a lot of explaining to the American people about how their lives will be better under a Donald Trump. But I think that the resilience, the tenacity, and the warrior spirit of Donald Trump, I don't think that can be disputed even by the most liberal of leftists in the U.S.
And the convention in Milwaukee, I mean, to say it has been a triumph is the understatement of the century. It was almost spiritual, wasn't it? I mean, an extraordinary thing to see. One of the most, I mean, that picture for a kickoff, the photo of him punching the air with the stars and stripes behind him, is an iconic image for all time. I took one look at that picture on Saturday. I put it on Twitter and said, this is the picture that wins Donald Trump the election. And now this convention, an almost spiritual event, absolute triumph for Donald Trump. Don't you agree?
I agree. It's been a great week for the Republican Party. It's been a great week for Donald Trump. And I would just have Americans look at the fighter spirit this man has. I mean, he was literally willing to give his life. The man is a billionaire. He could be sitting on a yacht or on a golf course with his billions, with his family, but no, he chooses to continue to subject himself to investigations, to prosecutions, to convictions, and now assassination attempts, because he wants to save America that badly. That's the guy I want representing me and representing my country.
Absolutely. And a few words, if you will, Tomi, about the running ticket now. He's named JD Vance as his vice president, or his vice presidential candidate. And I think, he's a former Marine. He's a big guy too. It looks to be, they look like a couple, now Donald Trump is an official tough guy. They look like a couple of tough guys, and whoever the Democrats manage, if it's Kamala Harris and someone else, or if it's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, by comparison, they're just going to look feeble. America will respond to two big, tough guys talking sense, won't it?
Yes, and JD Vance has an incredible story for those that aren't familiar. He wrote a best-selling book called Hillbilly Elegy, and I know that's a very American thing, but it's really a rags to riches story, and I wouldn't even say riches, but more coming from very humble beginnings, working his way up, of course, joining the Marine Corps, becoming a Yale-educated lawyer, a senator. I mean, he really is the embodiment of the American dream. And I'll also say this. When Donald Trump chose Senator JD Vance, he didn't choose somebody based on DEI or checking the box or having to pick someone who was a woman or of color or any other box that the left feels like it needs to check. Donald Trump said, I want the best person for the job in my estimation, and he chose Senator Vance, and I'm so glad he did that. He didn't cave to the identity politics. The other side can't say the same, but I'm really happy with our ticket.
And when he is elected, I'm going to say that on November the 5th, will your new President Trump declare war on this DEI insanity that nearly got him killed?
I believe so. I believe that a lot of things are going to change when Donald Trump is reelected. I think he's going to drain the swamp. I think he's going to bring merit back to the forefront. And I think he's going to make America great and America safe and America wealthy again. And I can tell you this, we are all anxiously awaiting that day.
Well, any chance he can come over and run Britain for a bit, because we could do with a bit of help. Tomi, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Tomi Lahren there, Fox News commentator. What do you